Hi, I'm Mike Dano with Light Reading here at the great Mobile World Congress Vegas trade show this year. We're here in hot, sweaty Las Vegas to celebrate the first day of the Mobile World Congress show here, the big fall show. And I'm here with Stephen Rose from IBM. And you're here at the IBM booth. Lots of people here today. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are talking about here at the show.
Yeah, great. So there are a couple of things that we're really bringing to town. First off, Watsonx. We launched Watsonx a little while ago, and there are three parts that we really think is really important, which is our generative AI platform. Number one is we think about it in terms of .ai. So that's a platform or a tool set or a studio, however you will, that really enables people to experiment and actually play around with different types of foundational models. The second way that we typically think about this is .data. So that's making sure that there is a data fabric available to everybody. That is from any part of any data system that you might have or data warehouse that you might have. So that's a distributed system that we enable. And then the third part is .governance. And that's really making sure that the data that you use is actually conforming to the types of policies that you want to have as part of an enterprise business, and making sure that you're staying on the right side of ethical AI.
Yeah, which is always an important topic. In fact, I will be talking about that tomorrow, ethical AI. I've heard about that more and more. So I guess maybe you can just talk a little bit more about so Gen AI is obviously a huge topic sort of in the whole technology world. We've all used Chat GPT and been amazed to how it works.
Yeah.
But here at the Mobile World Congress show, it's a lot of 5G companies, telecom companies. What are you talking to telecom companies, 5G companies specifically about Gen AI and Watsonx?
Yeah. And again, there are a number of different areas that you're actually able to use generative AI. And it's important, actually, it's really, really important that we understand that generative AI is not just superseding traditional AI. They, in fact, work in tandem and they work very well together. But when we think about generative AI, we think about different types of foundational models that are currently being pushed out there. And we've built those foundational models to address certain types of use cases. So one of them is around talent. So that's making sure they can get access to talent very, very simply. The other areas that we're looking at is around customer care. And we're also looking at areas of things like code generation, for example. So, and then also the last bit, network optimization, orchestration, and areas around the network domain. So, and all of those are interwoven, if you think about it. So if I get an incident, then I need traditional AI often coming in to pick up the incident. Then I'm using customer care potentially to figure out where the inference of that problem is coming from. Can I correlate that, for example, with customer care calls coming in, as well as incidents that are coming on the network? Can I use the platform to actually then help me understand, use the talent element of that? And then if I was to move that into code generation, you can imagine that a third-party vendor might use the code generation expertise of generative AI to solve for that problem, and then get that cast and retested and back out into the network. So it's an interwoven set of use cases that you can use with generative AI. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, and what is code generation? What is that?
Code generation is dynamic code generation, right? So the whole notion of generative AI is that as soon as the system starts to pick up where the problem is, it can actually dynamically generate new code to solve a particular problem, or generate new code to solve for a particular type of experience, for example. So again, very, very exciting. If we think about how that might play into enterprise IT, there's a lot of clear applications there. But as we go into network domains, we can see the more sophistication and the more learning that comes through the algorithms and the foundation models, the more you'd actually be able to use that in network-centric domains as well.
Okay. Last question for you.
Sure.
So Gen AI, Watsonx, like that, this is a big topic. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence lately. What's the conversation when you come down to brass tacks? If you've got a network operator who's coming to you to say, I want to use Gen AI in my systems.
Yeah.
What does that conversation look like? Are you charging it by the month, by the gigabyte? Are they buying a license to it? Do they get access to it for everything, or do they have to pay per instance? What is the financial situations around an operator using Gen AI?
Yeah. So first off, it's modular, right? Because the way that we sell the platform ourselves. Watsonx is actually a modular approach, depending on what the use case is or what the particular part of the platform that you want to use. But the most important thing to understand around generative AI is how much of that do I want to invest in terms of developing my own LLMs or my own foundation models, I should say, because they typically obviously generate a lot of compute. So therefore, you need to understand, do I have the potential in my own organization to do that, or do I want to use the foundation models of others and then optimize and tune on top of that? And so that's where I bring in. And so there are different ways in which you can actually decide on which is the right economic model for you. Do I beg and borrow and steal from others that are doing a really, really good job of that and use on top of that, or do I do my own stuff end to end? So that's the first thing. The second thing, and we had a very interesting discussion last week at the GSMA strategy board, and that was, how does it really truly get implemented and do you get diffusion into the organization? So a big part of the discussion is, how do I make this available to the organization? How do I turn users into content creators? Yeah, and how do I do that in a secure zone? Yeah, so it's a very, very, again, a new paradigm. Yeah, we're no longer users, we're all content creators, but am I doing that in a safe way?
Very interesting. Okay, actually, last question is, have you ever used Watsonx to ask how you should make more money on AI?
No, I haven't.
Not yet.
Not yet, but I will now.
Here we go. All right, Stephen, thanks so much. Appreciate
Thank you very much
it.
indeed.